today's meeting. Okay, ready? Yes, sir. Ms. Pat on? Ms. Pat?
Yes, I'm here.
Pat, you there?
Can you hear me?
Hello? Ms. Jones, we got you?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Online. Oh, she's talking.
Oh, I hear you guys.
We're working on it, Ms. Jones. We can see that you're talking.
Okay, I can hear you, but I guess y'all can't hear me.
We can see that you're the man behind the curtain.
Okay.
Technology seems like she's talking.
Yeah, I can hear you all real good.
Come on in, have a seat.
Can you,
Got plenty of chairs.
can you hear me?
All right, in the spirit of Father's Day this week, any good dad jokes?
No.
No?
Hey, Matt, were you able to hear us? It doesn't. No, that was the thing. So you already did the star six?
The last time I was on Zoom, there were.
Okay,
like
go ahead and do it
30
again.
I had to
Okay.
unmute, and I didn't find the third one.
Okay, bye.
It was over. Then when I hit it, y'all can hear me. It was a miracle. So.
Can you hear me?
So she says she's
Can
able
you
to
hear me
hear
now?
us. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Now you can hear
Let me see
me?
if I,
Okay.
yeah, let me see if I can transfer it. in.
How are you doing, Miss Jones?
I tell you what, I'm doing better.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
We can. Yes, ma'am,
Okay.
very faintly.
Okay.
I know he's working on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe
that
if I
works.
do this. Yeah, let's try again. Can you talk to us, Pat, real quick?
Yes, I can.
Hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
What if you put your microphone next to your speakers?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. Yeah, sounds good.
Mm-hmm. You know I can sing, and so.
Yeah, we hadn't had a song in a while. I think that improved it.
Yeah.
We're gonna go
Go
ahead
ahead
and
and get started. Pat, we can hear you, so we'll go ahead and get started.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 17th meeting of the Pop Store. I'm Terry O'Brien, President. We'll take a roll. Mr. Coverall. Here. Robinson.
Here.
Ms. Jones.
Here.
And Mr. Roman. Here. Thank you. I've asked Ms. Appleton to lead us in prayer and Mr. Roman to lead the pledge. They're all rise.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your watch care over our district and our students and our staff, parents, and just pray that you will continue throughout the summer to take care of our children. I just pray that you will be with us tonight and help us to make decisions that would be beneficial to these kids and help them to grow as children, as young adults, into adulthood, and just give you the praise and the glory for all that you have done for this district, because you have richly blessed us. I just pray that you'll be especially with the administrators as they're preparing for next year, and be with the teachers as they are getting a much needed rest. I just praise your name for all that you do for us, and just hope that you will forgive our sins and use us, Lord, in such a way that everyone knows that it's you that's leading us. These things I ask in Jesus' name.
Amen. Young pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any comments, register? Or I think that's different. That question.
No, so we did.
Back up with special guests in the audience, I'd like to point out real quick. This Patty Ann Hinkle here from the Lebanon School Board. She's going to critique us and make sure. Ms. Ford. Okay, 1970, Hobbs Eagle. She went to Lebanon, but she still believes black is gold.
And Mr. O'Brien, her pen was all over my paper when I was a student.
Thank you. Okay, going forward, I'd like to seek approval for the agenda for this meeting, June 17th, 2025. With one change, item 8C, we'll strike the number 267, as that's a discussion item on that. Other than that, there's no other changes. I seek approval.
Second.
Motion and second, all through.
Hi.
All right.
Ms. Jones.
Ms. Jones?
Hi. Hear me say aye?
Yes, ma'am, we got you. Thank you.
Okay.
Next, I'd seek the approval of action in the minutes of the regular board meeting for May 27th. Second. A motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Presentations.
Mr. President, members of the board, apologies. As this board is made it a priority to recognize those successes of our students and our athletes, tonight we have for you a number of presentations and recognitions. And we'll start off with Mr. Jeremy Soria of Hobbs High's track champions of the school. Join us.
Tables. Good. How are you? Good evening, Mr. President. Last time I think I went madam, but good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Mr. Strickland. Thank you tonight for allowing us to honor some of Hobbs High's distinguished athletes. Go ahead and come on down, guys. We're missing 3, 4. They all had to work, and their work would not let them off, but we're going to go ahead and honor them tonight. Got you. So first off, we have Jairus Duyantes, the tall one. He was part of our 4x800 state championship team. They ran a time of 7:52. With him who's not here is Jairus is a senior. With him who's not here is senior Luis Cordova, senior Elias Madrid, and also senior Juan Morales. They weren't not picked to win it, and it was a phenomenal race. They came from behind to track the guy down and win that race. So it was beautiful to watch, and we just want to honor them as our 4x8 state champions. Luis Cordova. So all of them are going somewhere next year on the track scholarship. So Jairus just signed with Western New Mexico on the track scholarship. Luis Cordova. Luis Cordova is going to LCU and Lubbock. Elias and Juan are both going to Iowa Western, right? On a track scholarship. So it was a tough team. They're very tough team.
Let me just add that track scholarships are the most underutilized of all scholarships. So if you've got some fast little feet, get out there and try.
I love it. Faith Vine is not here. She just they wouldn't let her off work. She just let us know. She was our 100-meter state champion with a time of 12:28. She's also going to Western New Mexico on a track scholarship. So that was huge for us. I don't know the last time we had a 4x1. And then last but not least, did I say it right?
Yeah.
Least but not last but not least, Zayla Mitchell. So this one is very, very impressive. Nothing against y'all, but Zayla last year was a sophomore, and she stood in front of you in one state in the long jump as a sophomore with a jump of 17:02. This year she's a junior in one state again with a jump of 18:3. So she is the state long jump champion. So wanted to present y'all with them, and yes, she's still. I can't say what college she's going to because she only gets. So. And then I do want to recognize our coaches. They put in the work with these young men and young women. Head girls coach was Reyes Marquez. Sorry, he has two last names. And so I'm going to go with that. Reyes Marquez, Melvon Anders, and then Coach Jason Kirkland. The first name is two last names.
Yeah. Well, it's practice while you're getting somebody that tall to jump 18 feet, that's true. Thank you.
Next up, we have Cheyenne Mulholland of Hobbs High School FFA.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, and Mr. Strickland. Thank you for having us. I would like to present to you our state FFA degree earners for this year. It was the first time in 7 years that a Hobbs FFA student has received a state degree. They would like to, if possible, talk about their state FFA degree and what they had to do if that is allowed. Each of them had a little bit of a different presence in building that state FFA degree and getting there. So it was hard for me just to come up with one solution of all, but to get their FFA degree, they have to be in an agriculture education class as a freshman. Most schools start as junior high, but we start as freshmen here. So they start with their green hand degree as freshmen, and then they receive their chapter degree through their FFA program. So myself and my co-teacher, Miss Cody, and then their state degree goes through our state FFA board. And so they have to keep an extensive portfolio to receive that. And so my chapter president would like to speak a little bit on that, if that's okay. Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abby Rogers. I am a 2025-2026 local Hobbs FFA chapter president. So I want to talk about how my members and I have been able to come today and earn our state degree from the state of New Mexico FFA Association. So it starts off different for everybody. For me, it started off with my lambs. If you don't know, I show market lambs for the Lee County Fair and Rodeo. Coming from that, we have many requirements to come from this degree. We must obtain our green hand degree. We must obtain our chapter degree. And my next goal is my American degree. One of the things I've been able to do after starting FFA is open my own company. I've been able to start Elite Leg Wraps, where I have noticed a problem in my local area of how I show lambs and we must protect their leg wool. I started a company that sold affordable leg wraps. And I would have never been able to do that without FFA if I had never done through the program AET. AET has taught me how to build business plans, make resumes, portfolios, and able to help me manage my finances and many more. Coming today to earn this degree, I had to jump through many hoops. I had to earn and receive at least $1,000 in disbursements and revenues. I had to commit to at least 350 hours of outside classroom time through my SAE. If you do not know what that stands for, it is Supervised Agricultural Experiences. Showing my livestock. I also do leather tooling on the side, and I also have my company, which all counts for those. So in 1 year, I have spent over 350 hours obtaining this degree. I've also completed 25 hours of community service and plan to attend more. So I would like if my fellow members could also speak on their behalves, because every story is different. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Audrey Davidson. I am the current vice president for Hobbs FFA. I also show lambs, which I've gone to a lot of jackpots, which my time has added up to 450 hours in AET. I've spent $2,600 and earned about $296. I have 40 hours in community service. My SAE is it's a science one. We have different types of SAEs throughout FFA. We have our showing livestock, which is the main one we have throughout FFA, which is why the ag farm is very important to us, which we also do have science ones, which is what I went for besides my lambs. There is a certain disease or a sickness in horses. It's called colicking, which happens a lot around this time, which I wanted to find a way without having to pay the expensive vet bill to do it at home, which through FFA and through the help with my advisor, she was able to help me out a lot. Thank you.
So, my name's Lauren Farr. I kind of covered a lot of how to get to the state degree, but the biggest part that helped me get my state degree was my SAE my last year. This last year, I did barbecue. I built a barbecue pit, and it gave me a lot of that insight on how important financial sheets are, and time management and paying attention on especially with your cuts with your cut torches. But not only did it help me get my state degree, it helped me with my FFA competition, which is a CD, which is a career development event. I did AgMech, which ranges from welding to, we had welding, carpentry, and but it's a joint of different trades. You can kind of get a jack of all trades for ag mechanics, so working on a farm or anything like that. And it helped me get the state degree a lot because that's the last part I needed. It gave me an insight on kind of what an adult's going to be like with spreadsheets. It kind of made me come to that realization. It's a lot harder than it seems. Thank you.
So members of the board, Abby Rogers, Audrey Davidson, and Lauren for our state FFA degree earners.
We do rear state.
Very good. Did you bring any barbecue to drive?
No, I didn't get to get it finished. I'm still working on that.
Okay. Congratulations. Sounds like you're doing a good job. Thank you. Congratulations. So is it to my dad would take some cup bottle into a hose down the whole person's nose and then fill it with castor oil.
I'll have to keep that in mind next time.
Good job, guys.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, and guests. Another recognition we have tonight is our Civics Bee. And so first I want to take a time, I don't believe Miss Parker's here, but Miss Parker spent a lot of time working with these students and dedicating her time. So our Civics Bee recognition, we have Alyssa Rocha. Is Alyssa here? Alyssa is from Houston. First place at the local National Civics Bee. Alyssa, can you tell us a little bit about the Civics Bee and what goes on in the Civics Bee? Put you on the spot.
So the Civics Bee it's like a test that you take in front of people, and it tests your civic knowledge about the government and the different parts of the government. And then if you get into the top 5, you have to present an essay that you wrote to get into the Civics Bee originally.
Right, so obviously you were in the top 5.
Yeah.
That's great.
Congratulations.
We have Natman Chon. Is that how, did I say that right? Want to make sure I say it correctly. Is 3rd place at state. What school are you from?
Houston.
Houston Middle School.
Tell me about your that was on your essay. Okay. Yeah, good stuff.
I have Alyssa also was 5th at state, first at the national and 5th at state.
For a second, then you may ask Alyssa what she's doing during the day right now.
Here. It's a good thing. Did your dad do a picture? Yes.
Yes, growing each year. So last year we had a handful of so 40. Very good. So help support that.
Yeah, sure. Mr. President? So, yes. Every year, the Mexico School Board Association, which the administrator of the executive director for the National School Board Association, was actually considered the board of directors. So every year, the Mexico School Board Association gives out applications to students across the state. There's 8 regions recognized in the Mexico School Board Association, so each region gets 3 winners. Every school will the nominee is nominates to us as a board. We select the one nominee that goes on to the region level. They can be at the region level. Then at the region level, they go to the state, and then they get the award. So this year, this year, the scholarship goes to Mr. Evans, and it's I have a letter here from the executive director, Mr. Joe Guillen, from the Mexico School Board Association. Says, congratulations, you've been selected as Region 6 2025 Mexico School Board Board Association Scholarship recipient. You should be proud to have received many outstanding scholarship nominations from school boards throughout New Mexico, which were reviewed and recommended by NMSBA regional officers and approved by our board of directors. So you'll find a scholarship award of $1,000, which can be utilized to pay for tuition, fees, books, or any other costs necessary to your degree, institution, higher learning. So we offer the most sincere congratulations and wish you luck in your future education endeavors. You will not find a check in there because it's in there. That training part for the check. So congratulations.
Yeah, for sure.
Proud for you. Where are you going to school?
I'm going to Texas A&M.
Oh.
Can I have that back?
What is it? Tell me what they do. They do something.
Exhaust, that's all they do.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's real
Here you go.
original.
That's right. They can't get
There you
them
go.
from here for thumbs.
That's right.
They just got. That's awesome.
Good stuff. Congratulations, buddy. Yeah, thank you. Mr. President, members of the board, the last presentation that we have this evening for recognition is from the Hobbs High School class of 1970. And some of our classmates are here this evening to share a little bit with us. That'd be great. Well, we've got you on record forever in eternity.
I think I'm recognized way back when anyway. But first of all, thanks for having us, President Gene, and welcome to visitors and everything. First of all, I'll introduce myself. I'm Patrick Collins, class of HHS 1970. This is Patty Ann, and she was in class of 1970, and Debbie Adams. We were fortunate enough to have our 55-year class reunion on May the 2nd and 3rd of this past year, or this year. And on the 3rd, we were fortunate enough to secure a tour of the CTEC program y'all have, which is an excellent program, I must say. Everybody was really impressed with what we saw and everything, so we appreciate Chris. I guess she's here tonight. Okay, well, anyway, she did an excellent job. I'm going to turn it over to Patty to let her throw some money at you, okay?
Thank you.
There you go.
I've been a Wildcat for a long time, but I started out an Eagle, representing colors tonight. We really appreciated the tour and are so excited about what CTEC is doing for these kids. You guys have a phenomenal facility, and Christy and Jean did such a great job of showing us through there that some of our classmates, former Eagles, were totally impressed and wanted to contribute some money toward that. And so Patty Robbins, who's also on the reunion committee and is our treasurer, collected money from the people who wanted to donate and wrote it. We've got a check for you guys tonight for CTEC for $3,200 from Hobbs alumni.
Got it here as well. Jose's here as well from CTEC. So yeah, thank you so much.
Good. Get to the business manager shortly.
What'd you do?
Yeah. Come on.
There you go. Fill in the gap. You're gonna leave all those in there.
You're very welcome.
Now we know the world.
Now we know.
All right.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you all so much. Patty Ann, I'll take some liberty if Mr. O'Brien will allow me. It's really special for me as a superintendent to be in education for 27 years and to have a Board of Education that says recognizing all our students and all the things they do is important. So to see our 8th graders who had a Civics B recognition with our state champions, with our FFA kids, those are the first FFA degrees we've had in 7 years. And so it's very special to me to know that you as board members continue to recognize our students and staff. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thanks, Patty Ann.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you. That's one thing, like I said, we just, that's probably one of the highlights of our board meetings, get to recognize and showcase all the talents. We've had so much this year. Every meeting we're having presentations for state champions, choir, just lots of different things. So it's really a lot of good things happening in Hub schools for sure. Absolutely. Moving on to the boring part. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that out loud. Moving on to the rest of the agenda. That's what I meant to say. Ms. Dixie.
Good evening.
Let's see.
Moving on to instruction.
There we go.
The reason why our kids are in front of us.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to have Miss Sonia Lawson here to give you the application for IDEA B for 25-26. She'll join us at the podium and stand for questions.
Join?
So you have a whole bunch now, Miss Peggy. No, I don't.
Do it again.
Yeah, try to do it again real quick.
I could possibly come up with a whole bunch, but I'll try to be kind.
Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Strickland, community members and staff, I stand for any questions you might have on the IDEA B application. We just received substantial approval. I believe it was last Friday, so we are just awaiting the upload of your approval and minutes, should you deem it appropriate. I did provide a letter and a summary of any of the changes of policy, and that is the majority of the change. With regard to the instructional plan, it's very similar, a little bit more strategic this year to beef up a little bit of our the challenges that we are seeing within instruction and to align with what is happening in the general education classroom to ensure that they have the access they need with the supports and interventions as appropriate to their individual circumstances. In a nutshell, that is. I could go on and on, but I don't want to.
I imagine that we will have, I'm so sorry, Bessie. I'm sure changing the name from the multi-layer system of support to the student team supplemental, is going to make a whole lot of difference.
They replaced the document is actually what it was. It was the original supplement that came out was not as tailored, so to speak, to what the supplement is. So there's more alignment to the SAT process versus the initial iteration of MLSS. It was just, here's our ideas, now here's how to implement. So that's the difference. And that's really,
well, that's good.
Yeah, that's
glad to hear that.
Thanks, Jay.
Well, if there are no other questions, I would move that we approve the grant as written.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You got it.
You hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All opposed? Motion for the IDB application passed. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate that.
Thank you, coming in.
Thanks.
Our next item tonight, we actually brought you the information last month, just for information. It's our high school curriculum handbook changes. Tonight, now that you've had a month to mull that over, we're seeking approval for that. And Mr. Parrish and his team are here for any questions you may or may not have.
Do I have any questions for Parrish or Ms. Scott?
I have none.
Seek approval for the high school curriculum handbook.
So move. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Human Resources.
President, members of the board, you have your informational reports for this month. Our first report, classified employment. We had 2 individuals that have now come on in custodial roles for the district. The next is certified retirement, which these individuals were honored back in early May at our retirement banquet. There were 10 certified individuals that decided to retire from Hobbs schools. And then we also had classified retirement. There were 4 classified. I do want to make one comment. I believe since I've been here, this is probably the smallest number of retirements that we've had at the end of a year, which is a good thing. It means losing individuals that obviously deserve to retire, but they're wanting to stay with us. The next report is certified resignation. You'll notice there are 41 individuals. These were individuals that mainly were classroom teachers that stayed through the end of the school year. So we have been in the process, Ms. Engel, Ms. Abel, and resources, and working diligently, I would say, to hire for those positions, and we are in the process of replacing those individuals. And then we also had 20 individuals in classified resignation category that again were as of May 23rd. Any questions?
I have none.
Any questions for Mr.?
Beat the bushes.
All right, thank you. Operations.
Mr. President, members of the board, bring to you the project updates, starting with our state partnerships. Of course, the big ones are the new middle school and Heiser. Good news on that front. Middle school, road work and dirt work began last Monday. And gotten the roadway defined north to south from Millen all the way to the Cala Grande tie-in. There's been a construction road on the side of that, which can get started. Has started. Began and I talked hard into getting his clothes dirty and going out there with me and looking over at where they are right now. They've already started digging out the footings on the first corner, and we expect for mechanical to begin in a couple of weeks to start laying out their lines, and the footings starting to be poured, concrete work in the next couple of weeks as well. So a lot of progress in just 1 week at the new middle school.
Noticed from Millen as I turned on to J-Rob. Almost went down there to kind of poke around, but I didn't have time because.
Make sure you bring your pickup and
Here.
begins because
Construction
Yes.
fence is up, it is secured, and then, the contractor that's doing the road and the
utility
they'll have that framed out at the end of this week.
week, and they are also the same contractor who is doing the site work on Heiser. And so they will begin moving over onto Heiser starting on Monday. And so that dirt will start moving on Monday. Construction fence will go up and we'll get going on Heiser as well. So about 2 week separation in projects right now. So
Other systems-based, PSFA review, what we'll be looking at applying for in the systems-based awards later this fall.
are the electrical at Hills Elementaries. We're getting the engineering quotes now put together to present to PSFA and also looking at those replacement systems at Lime and Stone. And hopefully we can get some additional assistance on that.
The other thing dealing with the state is the 5-year facility master plan.
We did look at planning. They will be the lead architect on that, replacing, I just went blank, Greer Stafford that had done it for several years, but they got out of the planning business. So this will be they're not new to Southeast New Mexico. They've done Lovington, they've done Carlsbad, so they're very familiar with our economic resources and will be a big help to us on that. Other
projects, Sanger and Jefferson. Retabling. Jefferson will be 100%
complete this week, and we've already started on Sanger beginning this week. So those are going along very smoothly.
Other renovations, summer parking, repairs and striping, that's ongoing. Those are on our elementary campuses.
Taking place right now.
Corner are on order. Hopefully that'll get started soon. Do practice field across the street.
If you have
Other lately, a lot of progress has been made.
still
Before August 1st. We'll be meeting with Ellis tomorrow. On that. Roofing repairs, multiple campuses since the last hailstorm. We did contact NIMSIA to do inspections for insurance purposes. They had wanted to come Thursday. Fortunately, nobody's going to be around on Thursday. They'll be here starting on Monday for our roof. So, that hailstorm was rough, but it may be good news for us. Central office sewer line, when this was printed out, we were 98% complete. We're now 100% complete. Highland Middle School cafeteria remodel. But June 30th, we're very hopeful that we'll be done by next month. We'll be completed. And then the freshman high school roof replacement. After the hailstorm, it was like, okay, back in line. So we're get that going. Let's still have that completed. Other ongoing projects, other items. Central office possible renovations include creating more office space downstairs, along with renovating the board area here to provide a little bit more space, bringing it out a little bit, provide handicap accessible walkways behind the Southern Heights drainage repairs. Whenever we get a big rain, Southern Heights has been flooding on the north side. Hard to get water out of there. Talking with Decker Architects, they come up with a solution with their engineers. We'll get started soon, and they are cost on that. I did tell them that had to be done and completed prior to school. They feel like they can get that done. Central kitchen, the generator, that permanent generator, I think this was been going on for like 4 years. Before I got into operations, but the panel installations are being completed for that. Get the generator installed. There'll be a nice
brick wall around that generator to kind of hide it public view. We have freezer door replacements that are happening inside the central kitchen, not our new freezer. Other freezers that are. Houston Middle School, we added some security cameras over there. We're also doing carpet replacement in individual classrooms. Edison Elementary, big lines have been installed throughout that building. Edison, like we put in this. Lines are really nice. And then we're doing carpet replacement. Classroom. Bill Rogers also got new. I had all the furniture orders. So with that, I'll stand for questions on the projects.
Who knew you could replace freezer doors?
They're heavy.
I know, they're big things. I'm sure they, we think of replacing the seal around our refrigerator. But I can see where they have to replace the whole door.
Goes along with our sensors as well. Alarm system.
We don't lock anybody in.
So that we don't spoil food if the temperature. Immediately contact Honeywell and they're on the spot. The other item is an action item. So I have a handout for you here. We've been working diligently trying to get the numbers firmed up. It was not ready when the board packet went out. We did get this done about 3 minutes before the board meeting started.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah. We had the old risograph in color.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what a risograph is.
It was smear too.
This. So on the transportation fuel allotment, so what we do is traditionally Hawk Schools has always at the end of the year provided additional funding to our bus contractor. The remaining funds that come from the state allotment, we generally give that to our bus contractor. This year we have a balance of $83,326.25. And so with your approval, we would like to hand that money over to B&G. It's really a fuel adjustment. Generally we underestimate, or I say we, it's underestimated at the beginning of the year. And so this will allow B&G to hit the ground running at the beginning of the year with plenty of fuel and supplies and the things that they need in order to get the year started.
Any questions for Mr. Young on the field allocation? I seek a motion for approval.
So moved.
I have a motion and a
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
President.
Young.
Thank you.
Business. Bird.
Mr. President, members of the board, before Mr. Byrd jumps headlong into what he has for your consideration this evening, I want to take the opportunity to introduce to you all Mr. Jay Lashaway. Jay will be replacing Mr. Byrd in the finance department, and so that Brian can go back to HR full-time and not split duty. But Mr. Lashaway comes to us with about 30 years of experience, all in school finance and a sitting school finance official in a neighboring school district. So we're thrilled to have Jay. He's been here the last couple of days, and thanks for being here this evening.
Nice to meet you.
Congratulations.
Glad to be here.
Good.
And Mr. Byrd is happy to see you.
Yes, sir.
I am probably more excited than he is.
We do know what Mr. Byrd did in his former district. He said, "I will never do that job again," and that was the mistake. He said never.
Well, Mr. Byrd, we do appreciate everything you did and stepping in for that. That's a big hole to fill there we needed. And we appreciate you stepping in.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. President, members of the board, for your consideration, with starting with items A, B, C, and D. So we have consideration of expenditures, consideration of investments, consideration of bars. We had 2 bars. We had the SB9 state match that we received in the award letter. So an increase of $850,000, or $850,655, which really made Mr. Young pretty happy. Then we also did a transportation. We did it as an increase from the 23-24 school year, where our unexpended amount basically becomes a 50-50 split with the state. And so our portion that we received was $87,991.50. And then in your packet, the check that we are having to return to PD, which is one of the reasons Mr. Young brought the dual allotment for tonight, to hopefully not send money back to Santa Fe. So that for your consideration. And then the following bids, concession supply, we put it out for bid, had no vendors return any bids on that one. Same for concession chips, coffee bar supplies. We did for the middle school snack bar for pizza, we had 2 vendors, and so that bid is in there for your consideration. And the same with athletics. We had 2 vendors for the pizza athletics concession only. And so that one's in there. And then we had 1 vendor that bid for the milk. We also had band instrument repair, and we actually had 2 vendors that bid on that. And obviously in there in the bid is the one that scored the highest. I stand for any questions.
The board packet, the board members had their packets a few days, so we've had time to go through these. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Bird?
Well, who knew there was an app for band drilling? You know that?
Oh yeah, the marching band.
I just thought they up off the top of their head.
Oh no, that's
No,
big.
there's an app for that.
Big
folks.
money. Big money. Big money.
That's a big money business.
Yep.
Marching band, like writing those shows and doing the drills and stuff like that. That's those drills cost $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 just for the drill, just for the rights to it. It's a lot.
It's business.
It's big
That
money.
just goes to show that I did read those. In case you wondered.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the expenditures, the investments, bars,
Second.
Bids?
and bids.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for ventures, investments, bars, and the bids. Bert?
Next item for consideration, Mr. President, is for inventory. So we have technology broke out for, and then our actual physical inventory. Put together, both documents equal 777 pages. I'm sure we all went through it with a fine tooth comb. So just for your consideration, that's what we currently have here physically in the district.
A lot of technology.
I'd seek a motion to approve the inventory.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, members of the board, the last item for consideration is 1-year-old checks. So any check that has not been out for 1 year, what we do in the business office, if it's to an individual or to a vendor, try to make contact to get them to cash the check, or we can reissue. But unfortunately, these checks got no response back. So your consideration to avoid these, since they are a year old.
Questions on checks?
Make a motion, we approve the duration of those year-olds.
Have a motion for approval of the Euro to avoid the Euro checks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Mr. Strickland, last day, I can't talk.
It's been hot today, I understand. Yeah. Mr. President, members of the board, I have for your consideration the third and final reading of Policy Service Advisory number 261 and 262. And as you recall, we've seen these the last 2 months. These are related to school schedules, course loads, and graduation requirements out of the most recent legislative session. Have had no updates or edits to these policy service advisories, and so with your approval, as that policy is drafted, would be included in our policy in the next 30 days.
Questions, comments? Take a motion for approval, third final reading of the Policy Service Advisory 261 and 262.
So move.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, members of the board, we're going to take a break from resolutions on policy service advisories. And we've got Mr. Nicholas Kane here of Stiefel to present our current debt portfolio in advance of considering a resolution to sell our most recent bonds.
Thank you, Superintendent Strickland and President O'Brien and the board for having me here tonight. My name is Nick Kane and I work at Stiefel Public Finance. We serve as the district's municipal bond advisor. My colleague Brad Ink sends his regards. He couldn't be here tonight. He's at another meeting. And I just wanted to briefly go over the district's debt portfolio and kind of why we're doing the bond sale right now. There are a couple different resolutions you're being asked to approve in accordance with that bond sale. Part of it is delegated authority to Superintendent Strickland, so we can go ahead and complete that bond sale during normal business hours when the stock market is open. So we're setting forth what we call maximum terms for that bond sale, including interest rates. We don't necessarily expect to approach those levels, but we just want to set those terms at slightly higher than normal rates, just so we have it all approved ahead of time, and that way we don't need to come back to you for follow-up approvals. If everything goes according to plan, the transaction is scheduled to close towards the end of August. But looking at page 3 of the presentation in front of you, you can see the most recent assessed valuation for the community. That is how we determined what the bonding capacity is for Hobbs. And you can see based off the final valuations for 2024 that the total valuation has gone up slightly for Hobbs, right about $2.7 billion now. School districts are allowed to bond up to 6% of that, which gives you a total bonding capacity of about $161 million. You guys paid off one bond already this year. You're scheduled to pay off another bond later this summer. That leaves you with about $33 million that's outstanding currently and $128 million of bonding capacity. The district does have $40.5 million that was approved by voters in November of 2023. And that is a portion for selling $20.5 million this summer that the voters approved in November of 2023. Page 4 shows kind of the current tax rates here in the community. Our goal is to always maintain roughly that 11.5 to 11.75 for the residential tax rate. And with this bond sale, we're able to do that because of the increase in valuations that the community has. Jumping ahead to page 7, you can see that the district is scheduled to have a drop off in the debt outstanding and the tax rate in 2026 if we did nothing else. And that's how we're able to go ahead and sell the bond this summer. You'll have your sale in 2025, your first payment in 2026, and able to layer it on without a tax increase for the residents. Page 8 gives just a brief kind of timeline of what we've been doing with breaking out that authorization into 3 sales. We do expect to sell the next tranche of it, or the final grouping, sometime early next year, most likely, assuming construction stays on track. Everything has been built in to sell this portion and the remaining without that tax increase for residents. And then page 9 just gives you a little bit more detail if you wanted it on kind of what the annual payments are and what the mill levy is expected to be. I'll pause for any questions if you have them.
Any questions for Mr. King?
But we're in good shape financially.
Very good shape financially, yes.
questions?
And I'm glad that we can do this without an increase in our taxpayers. We appreciate them proving our ability to do this, and we want to be very fiscally responsible.
Guys have been lucky, you have a good residential base that supported all your bond elections in the past, and we definitely take that into consideration to make sure taxes stay stable when we can.
All I've got.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Any other questions? I'd seek approval and consideration of the resolution authorizing the sale of school bonds, establishing procedures for sale and delivery of bonds, and authorizing other matters related to the issuance of the bonds.
I'll move.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's a roll call vote. I'm sorry. It's a roll call vote. Mr. Calderon? Yes. Appleton?
Yes.
Romine?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you coming down.
Have a safe trip.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Mr. President, members of the board, I have for your consideration the first reading of policy service advisories number 263, 264, 265, 266, 268, and 269. This is the latest batch of advisories that we have received from the New Mexico School Board Association Policy Service Advisor or Policy Advisory Group. And number 263 was an emergency clause that we were already compliant with, and it dealt with individuals being able to wear their tribal regalia related to graduation. Student discipline on 264, emergencies on 265, instructional goals and objectives on 266, 268, cardiac emergency response plan, automated external defibrillators. Interesting on this one, this statute that was drafted as a bill and now is law only calls for high schools to have an AED. This school district has long held an AED program in every single one of our buildings. And some of our campuses have multiple AEDs. Our nursing department manages those and oversees those. So again, as a board, you all are already compliant with this policy. And then policy 269 is a new statute related to parental guidance for water safety. And essentially what the district would do is prior to summer of 26, we will publish water safety advisory and swim lesson opportunities for parents. Seeing that this is the first reading, we would have tonight as an action item, and then July and August for these advisories.
Any questions on any of those?
No.
I have none.
For approval.
So move.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. President, members of the board, the next one that you have is for discussion, and it is Policy Advisory 267. And you can see my cover page there just to provide some context. This is in response to Senate Bill 11, and Senate Bill 11 was drafted by Senator Brantley. And essentially it was drafted with the anti-distraction policy of wireless communication devices, or otherwise known as WCD within the language. As this bill is making its way through the legislature, as we do every year, we had the opportunity to visit with our district coalition and have them view the bills and have them see the bills and get feedback, so that if we did have the opportunity from legislators to provide that feedback. As that bill was making its way through, our guiding coalition said we appreciate the effort. Not knowing the full weight of the bill at this time, we believe that our current student handbook allows us the appropriate amount of authority to implement said policy. Interesting thing on this one, the wrinkle on Senate Bill 11 is it carries with it an August 1st requirement to be compliant. We received this advisory last week. And in order to be compliant with policy adjustments, we have to have 3 readings. Our board meets once a month. There's no way we would meet that requirement in statute to be compliant by August the 1st. And in addition to that, it doesn't allow our end users, our students, our parents, and our classroom teachers who would have to be carrying out this policy, the opportunity to have buy-in, do that. And so hearing the feedback from the district coalition, I made the decision to pull this one from the routine of the other advisories, to draft a timeline whereby when our district coalition gets back in session, we can take this bill up. We can get some feedback from our students, and as well as from our classroom teachers as to how to implement this policy district-wide. We've got a number of policies across the district. Some classrooms, the students just know there's no need to use your device in this classroom, so don't even get it out. We've got some classrooms that device is crucial to what they do in class, and so they allow them to use it. We've got other models where they have pockets where if the teacher says as they're walking in, today's a no device day, and so they put their device in those pockets. We've got other examples to where students keep their device on their person, and there's a red or green poster at the front of the page, front of the classroom. If it's red, it's a no device time. If it's green, it's a device time. So there's enough ambiguity, not really ambiguity, there's enough variation in the practices that are present within our 19 campuses that I felt it prudent to allow our staff the opportunity to review this and see what best policy comes to play. I did visit with Secretary Padilla when she was here a few weeks ago, and she asked me what our plan was with this, and I shared with her then that there's no way we could meet the August 1st deadline, given the statutory requirement of 3 readings. She acknowledged that. I did share with her that she will receive an email from me on August the 1st stating here's how we're compliant with that state law. You all know me well enough. There's a little bit of ornery in there for me that I don't even know if we have to draft a policy. The way I see the bill, we have to have practices in place. And so I'm going to reach out to Dan Castile and see if our student handbook can cover that, as long as we cover the things that are required in that statute. So more to come on this one, but definitely necessary. I do believe there's times in classes where we don't need to be distracted, and our students shouldn't be distracted. But I also believe it's a tool today. And if we leave our head in the sand and think that our students are not using their device, all they're doing is it's counterproductive in terms of appropriate adult behavior.
Yeah, and I'll just add to Mr. Strickland said there, it's, and y'all have heard our policy service used a few times when we're talking about this. So we contract through the New Mexico School Board Association of Policy Service. They have a policy service advisor on their staff that puts out these policy service advisement. Normally we get a flood of them after legislative session because they put out the policies to make sure that we're in compliance with the newly passed bills, newly passed laws, and things like that. So they have a gentleman on staff. He's an attorney that puts these policies together for us and sends them to us. Then we'll review them. Like I said, we have to approve them 3 times, go through them 3 times to make sure we're all on the same page. You know, anybody, any issues with those or whatever. Most of them, just like we said, a lot of these we're already in compliance with. You know, the graduation requirements, you know, we are already exceeding those. Some other ones. This one, I'm kind of on the page with Mr. Strickland. This is one of those that really, when it gets down to it, local control, you know, local decision making, you know, we're managing this in our classrooms. Our educators are managing it in our classrooms. You know, I've not naive enough to not think that students don't get their devices out in class, things like that. I've got 3 teenage daughters, so I know how that works. So, but also know that it is a tool, and it's one of those that, hey, you know, for better or worse, you know, it's like some other tools, technology and things like that, AI and different things. It's one of those things we're just going to figure out a way to adjust our thinking and our structure in our classrooms and things like that to adapt to those different tools. So I really think, and I agree with Mr. Strickland 100% after going through our handbook, going through the bill and reading this, that, you know, what we currently have in place is going to satisfy the requirements of Senate Bill 11. So definitely on board with that. And anybody else have any comments on that?
I agree with you because, it's almost like saying, you know, if you're gonna be distracted by 26 students in the room, let's just have one person in the room. I mean, that's an extreme, but technology is where we're at today. Allowing our students access to it in a meaningful instructional manner is going to allow them to progress and grow.
Yep. Ms. Jones, you good? Over there?
Mr. President, members of the board, the next item I have for your consideration are board dates, board meeting dates for our regular board meetings of school year 25-26. You'll see there the listing of those 12 meetings, and we do publish these, and any change to those because of extenuating circumstances or scheduling conflicts, the board is to agree on what that appropriate date would be.
Anybody got any serious heartache with any of those dates?
Oh, good to me.
Okay. I seek a motion to approve the board date for school year 25.
Before, I do have one question.
Okay.
I noticed in March, is that due to the spring break?
Yes, sir, that would be correct.
I
Yes,
just
sir.
wanted to verify that, yeah.
Need a motion to approve the board dates for 25-26.
What?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So the next item is our consideration of the superintendent's contract to be extended from 2026 through 2027, 2028 school years. Take a motion for approval.
So, second?
Have a motion and a second. A roll call vote. Mr. Calderon. Ms. Appleton.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Romine.
Yeah.
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate everything you do. Thanks for.
Takes a team. Takes a team.
Definitely takes a
Good
team,
group.
but we definitely appreciate all the time and energy and effort and trips to Albuquerque and all that fun
Santa
stuff you put
Fe.
into it, for sure. Yeah,
Trips to Santa Fe trying to.
yeah.
Mr. President, members of the board, the last item we have are announcements. So as previously mentioned, the district will be closed on Thursday, June 19th in recognition of Juneteenth holiday. July the 4th is a Friday. We're already off on Fridays for the summertime. So it will be a full work week for the 4 days, June 30th through July 3rd. The Mexico School Board Association Leadership Retreat, July 10th through the 12th, and Terry has the tentative agenda for you, as well as receiving a thumbs up from you whether or not you'll be going, so she can complete registration tomorrow. He does have rooms for us in Cloudcroft as well. I was able to secure those rooms.
Yes, for sure.
July 15th will be our regular board meeting. Approved. That's professional learning with our staff institute. All staff back on July 31st, 4 days, and then we're off the school year with students on August the 6th.
Coming too fast. Rain rushing toward us.
But everybody looks so sad whenever they talk about that. All the faces out there just went. Yeah.
Well, look at the excitement on our new business manager's
Yeah, he's
face.
ready
He
to
can
go.
hardly wait to put
Yeah.
his hands through those POs.
Yeah, for sure. Any other announcements? Anything from the board?
Good conference at the law conference. I thought it was much better than it was last year. Person. I look forward to the leadership conference. Hope it's good too.
That would be cooler, for sure. Okay.
Thank you for your leadership on the
Well-
executive board. I know that's can be rough sometimes because we're south of I-40.
It's a little exciting this time, but we got through it. So, all right. Well, thank you, everyone, and I appreciate everybody coming in. I try to Stay hydrated. I seek a motion for adjournment. Second.
And I appreciate you. Y'all have a good evening. It's Pat.
Jones, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Mm-hmm. Y'all have a good evening.
For this, it'll just be Edgel.
Who all's going there? Who all's going there? You'll be there? Awesome.